I'm here with Chelle Honiker, and we are going to blow your minds. There you go.
Again, again.
Again,
Fine,
yet
fine.
again. Was the last time we were on video? Was that December on your out on your back patio?
On the back porch. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
wow.
Yeah. We call it back porch in the South,
Back,
honey.
back. Sorry, back porch. Get my vocabulary straight. Okay. All right, everybody. Chelle, to I just went through. I cannot. Uh, what's it called? Hold back my inner Donald Miller and StoryBrand. And I pretty much put everything into this framework lately, and I got to say, it kind of works. So there's a hero who has a problem, and along comes a guide who has a plan with a call to action for the hero to avoid failure and achieve success. So if we were to apply that, Shell, to what we're about to talk about,
Yeah.
and I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but can you fill that in the blanks with what we're talking about here? You being the
Yeah.
guide?
Yeah, for sure. I think our hero is a content creator, right? Novelist, writer of
Okay.
some sort, creator of
Yeah.
some sort. And the problem is that they have to do all of the things. In indie publishing, we are publishers that write and not writers that publish. And that's kind of a
Ooh.
well documented. That's the opportunity, but also the downside is that we are responsible for all of the things, right?
Yeah.
And the problem has been continuously, it's tough to do it ourselves. It's also tough to find resources and hire or delegate those things. There's been a constant roadblock for us to do all of the things because one side of it is very creative and a lot of people are very good at that. And the other side is very business centric. And some of us are very good at that. It's kind of how our brains work left and right.
Yeah.
Um, but in this business, we have to do both, right? And
Okay.
so
Okay.
that is the problem is how do you do all of it?
All of the things.
All
Okay.
of the things. How do
And then
you
along
write?
comes Shell.
And along comes Shell. And I have been writing Author Automations, the newsletter, now for nearly 2 years. And in that time, I really saw the possibility of automations being able to pick up the piece and being able to delegate to a bot the things that you wanted to do. With that
Okay.
came AI and it sped it up. And we were able to
Yeah.
chat back and forth with AI and say, hey, I need to create 20 captions for my social media. And that was great. So you chatted back and forth. Then along came the ability to do imagery. And that made it better, although
Yeah.
lots of hands had six fingers. They were very
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
the six finger hands. Um, but I will say in December a huge shift happened. And this is where it gets interesting for our hero because now there is the ability to allow AI to agentically do the thing. So before it was chat. You chatted back and forth, you copied and pasted, right? You created Excel spreadsheets and you asked it to look at data and you had to do a lot. You were the orchestrator and the bottleneck in
Okay.
both positions. But back in December, a shift came into place with agentic AI. And Anthropic in particular has been kind of on the case with this. And it came out with what's called cowork and code.
Okay.
And
Can we
cowork,
just one sec? The word
yeah,
agentic. So
agentic, meaning,
agent.
yes, meaning it will do something as opposed to just tell you about something.
So there's an
So,
agent that can take action.
correct.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
With your permission, with
Yeah.
the parameters that you set. Those are
Okay.
kind of important caveats there.
Okay.
Uh, but Claude Cowork in particular came out and it's getting better. It hasn't been great in the past, but it's getting better and better and better.
Yeah.
And it allows you to connect it to your things, right? So you can add connectors like Google Drive or Canva or Gmail or Airtable. It can also take control of your Mac if you're on a Mac. And you can connect all of the things that you use and there's a ton of them. I'm just pulling up a few of them here, but you can connect Notion, PayPal, Stripe, Wix,
Oh,
and then agentically this agent can go do things for you. For example, if you connected Canva, you could have it create images in Canva for you. If you
wow.
connect Gmail, you can have it give you a summary of your email that's come in
Wow.
overnight. You can connect Google Drive and it will create Google Sheets from the data that you're chatting to it about. So it can do things instead of just talk about things. And it
Okay.
makes a huge difference.
So if this, and I'm not going to, I promise I won't fixate on StoryBrand and
No,
Donald Miller the entire time, but just because I want to get that nice framework, even just for myself. So we now have the hero is the content creator,
right?
author, content creator. And the problem is they have to do all the things.
Right.
Guide is Chelle, and okay, I'm just going to stick with Chelle for a moment. Could we say the plan is as simple as is the plan's not Claude,
The
or is
plan
it?
could be Claude, right?
Could be Claude.
The plan is how do you outsource all of the things that you need to do?
Okay.
The plan is you have a business, a creation, content creation, author business, and you have to do social media and analyze your sales and put things up for sale and do covers and edit your book and
Okay. Okay.
send out a newsletter and all of the things.
Okay.
So your plan is how do you manage your business in the macro sense?
Okay. So the plan is okay. Plan is how to manage your business.
Yep.
Then a call to action could be, I'm giving away a little bit here, but could be join the summit on April 21st and 22nd. 21st, 22nd?
Yep.
Yeah. That could be the call to action because there needs to be like a doable, easy, okay, just tell me what's this one thing I got to do? Okay.
Exactly.
Join the AI summit. Shell's hosting on April 21st, 22nd, which is what we're really talking about here today. And then just to wrap this up in a nice, pretty little bow for me here, then what is, because we're looking at then to avoid failure. So let's talk about what failure looks like and then achieve success. And I'd like to see what does success look like. So what does
Yeah.
failure look like?
Failure looks like burnout. Failure looks like
Okay.
low sales despite massive effort. Failure
Ouch.
looks
Okay.
like you've been hacking away at this for years with a great book and can't get eyes on it. You can't get discoverability. You can't get traction. That's what failure looks like.
Ouch. Okay.
It's, yeah, it's really
Painful.
painful for me to see authors that have amazing books that can't get traction.
Okay. Ouch. That's painful.
Yeah,
Okay. And then success. What does success look like? For the hero with the problem and the guide and the plan?
right.
What could success look like?
So success could look a little like this. You are able to open up your dashboard in the morning, see that your ads are not performing as well as they were the week before, and your Claude Cowork can go in and create new ads and change those out for you without you having to log into something else to do it. It can
Wow.
look a little bit like you know you need to send a newsletter and you need to send some follow up newsletters, but you're not sure how. You can log into Cowork, and Cowork will connect to your email service provider, draft an amazing newsletter for you, and draft maybe 3 or 4 different versions of it, depending on the audience that you want to send to, so that they're highly customized, so that the reader that gets your newsletter feels like you've written it exclusively for them and
Wow.
they take action to buy your book or leave a review or whatever your call to action is. It
Wow.
is being
Okay.
able to update your website more than once every 6 months, right?
Or
Just by
6 years.
saying 6 years, just by going into Cowork and saying, I need to add my latest book to my website. Here's the cover. And it already knows everything about your site. So it's not being able to do more, right? It's being able to do more efficiently. You're able to do all the
Wow.
things without the burnout. You're able to reach more readers, potential readers. You're able to get in front of more readers without burning out.
So if the failure, like the simple sort of emotions or feelings that I had with failure, from what we're talking about, was you mentioned burnout,
Yeah.
overwhelm, pain. What then are some? What might the hero feel with success?
Accomplishment,
Okay.
um,
Oh wow.
productivity. I mean, just I know when I feel like I've accomplished something or I've knocked something off my list, I feel far more productive. I feel like I've succeeded in a way that I set out to
Mm,
succeed. I
nice.
don't feel like
Okay.
I'm behind. I feel like I'm ahead of the game. I
Wow.
feel,
Wow.
yeah,
Wait.
yeah,
Okay. I think. Okay. Sorry. That one struck a nerve. Because did you say, oh, don't feel behind? What?
yeah.
I don't,
I will.
does not
So let me,
compute. Does not
right.
compute.
So in the
My
interest of
God.
being a storyteller, let me tell you a story.
Okay.
When I first discovered how these tools work and I was kind of exploring what their capabilities were, I sat down on a weekend and I sat down with Claude Code because Cowork hadn't come out yet. And Claude Code is kind of a Claude Cowork supercharged, right? And I can explain that a little bit better in a
Okay.
different context. But I sat down to see what I could do with it. And I had a backlist of about 20 to 25 tasks on my Notion task list that it's my someday maybe, like I'll never get to it. I didn't
Uh-huh.
think I would ever get to them.
Yeah.
They included things like I wanted to go through all 13,000 images on my computer and I wanted to put them into some kind of structure so I could find them. I wanted to have keywords. I
Um,
wanted to get rid of duplicates. I wanted to really just clean up this, dumpster fire
I,
of
I, I
data.
want that. I want that
Yes.
too. Okay.
Um,
Ouch.
that was one task. The second task was I knew that I needed to do a better job of SEO on our website. I knew that having better SEO, having better accessibility, having alt tags on my images, like all the things I knew was going to take me weeks, and I wasn't, if ever, I wasn't ever going to be able to really truly get to it. So I was trying to formulate a plan to like break it up and do like 10 pages a month of things, right?
Yeah.
And granted, we have 1,300 articles on Indie Author Magazine in particular, but I knew that we needed to do that. So that was task number two. Task number three was I needed to update some of those images and we needed to get off of this really expensive paid plan that we were on to house those
Mm.
images. We were paying like $200 a month for that. So my goal was
Ouch.
always to get rid of that expense. Okay, so those are three things that I knew I needed. Um,
Any
that
one of which sounds
any
like it
one
could
of
take a
which,
month.
would have, oh, months, more than months, 4 months, 4 months.
Okay.
I sat down on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. and typed into Claude Code, this is my objective. And Claude Code said, right, connect this, connect this, connect this. Walked me through how to make those connections. I had to connect to our website so it could take action on our website for me, not me pasting and changing things, but it could do it itself. I needed to connect my what's called glacial storage, right? So that it knew how to get those images off and put those images in a different place so we could cancel that $200 a month subscription.
Yeah.
And then I needed to connect my desktop so that it could go in and categorize all of the images that were sitting on my desktop. I started all three of those tasks in parallel. It's called in parallel. So all
Okay.
three of them, I had three bots working by themselves on my computer. And it said,
Totally separate stuff. One's doing this
totally
photo
separate.
organization thing, website thing.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Yep. Yep. And it said, go away, go have some coffee, go have some breakfast, go do your
Go
thing.
away.
And so I came back in about 2 hours, and task number one was done in 2 hours. It had already categorized
What?
the images on my desktop, and it had put them into folders, and it renamed them in some cases. It added metadata to them, and then it created a spreadsheet for the team so that they could search it. It was it went above and beyond, and it was done. So that was done. I went away for another couple hours. I came back and it had asked me a couple of questions. It said, do you want me to do this, this, and this? Which was extra and above and beyond. One was, do you want me to rename the images so that they have better keyword strategies? And I said, sure, while you're in there, go ahead and do that. So instead of saying image1.jpg, it said image of an author at a keyboard.jpg. So it had more keyword relevance, and it did all the alt tags. And then it said, I noticed that your responsive sizing on your site is just a few pixels off. Would you like me to fix that? And I said, absolutely. And can you make me a cup of coffee while you're at it? Like, what are the limits? It did that. And then it went in and it had moved all of the images. Now, this took almost a full 24 hours to move all the images out of our glacial storage into another space. And then it asked me, do you want me to cancel that subscription for you?
No.
What? Yes.
What?
I said no. I said no. Only
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
don't allow it to do anything that has to do with money or subscriptions.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really look at agentic AI sort of like I would look at an intern, right?
Okay.
What
Yeah. Yeah.
permissions, what do I give an intern? And it has to earn my trust before
Yeah.
I let it do all the things. But
Yeah.
those three things, 4 months worth of work, $200 a month, immediate savings, immediately in just a weekend. And I mean, I did actually more than that over the weekend, and I did write about it in Author Automations, kind of
Yeah.
what I did that whole weekend. But I was absolutely blown away by the possibility and by the actual results that I saw in just really 2 days of experimenting with it. Now, that was in January. Imagine how much smarter it is, because we're talking about degrees of,
Yeah. Okay.
they're
So,
dumb as they're going to be today.
in
Today is dumb as they're going to be.
yeah, in Zoom chat, I just shared a file with you. I don't know if you could share it on the screen here.
Yeah.
And it's that's actually my strategy for when I'm gonna get those photos organized on my computer. And if you can share the entire strategy here with everybody watching, because it's quite brilliant actually. And yeah, but I'm going to share it with everybody just because that's the giving guy that I am. And this is when exactly it's going to happen. And yeah, I just thought I'd be generous like that. There it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
got that
that
got
is
that right on the
very
calendar.
specific. That's very
Yeah,
specific.
that's when it's going to happen.
And it's a calendar. That's
It's a
great.
calendar day. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's Saturday, Tuesday,
Got
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Thursday, Friday, someday.
Who knows? Well, this is actually a perfect example, Shell. I think I created this image, I don't know, a year ago.
Yeah.
And right, look at that, misspellings and odd, letters or whatever. Although I love the post-it note, it's great.
That is good.
And for me, this is the pain. This is the pain.
It is.
So, someday
Agreed.
is when I'm going to accomplish the tasks that you mentioned, all three of them, which you got done so quickly.
Yeah.
And they're still on my someday calendar.
Yeah.
And
And
someday is, of course, never.
And those tasks had sat on my I mean, they'd been there at least 6 months, right? They're just like
Yeah.
oh gosh, at some point we need to do this, right?
Yeah.
So at some point I need to do this.
Yeah.
At what point would I have gotten to it? Probably never. Probably never. I was continuously putting out fires, and I was always working in the urgent necessary box in
Yeah.
the grid of
Wow.
what is it? I can't remember what that grid is called. But I was always putting out fires, and I could never get to the work that I wanted to get to. I couldn't get back to writing, which is what I wanted to be doing, right? I wanted
Yeah.
to write. I didn't want to be sitting there optimizing SEO, but
Yeah.
also that's kind of a necessary thing, and that moved the needle. I will share this. Since I've done that, our traffic is up 26% on our site. So it was a small thing, but 26% more traffic on our website is a huge thing. It's led to more advertisers, it's led to more, you know,
Wow.
deals, it's led to all kinds of things, but I couldn't get ahead of it to be able to do that
Yeah.
until I was able to outsource it to bots that could do it more efficiently and better than I could. Much better than I could.
Wow.
The time it would have taken me to craft a plan, probably delegate it to my team, probably have them, you know, do it between things, it never would
Yeah.
have gotten done.
Yeah. Yeah. Or here, it would have gotten done on this day or someday,
Someday.
which
Yeah.
is the same as never. Some days is a nicer way to say never.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I was able to clean up my backlist and
wow.
get that done. And then I was able to do things like craft a Pinterest strategy and have it create all of the Pinterest pins for me because those are long tail things. So when I say I got ahead, it wasn't that I caught up on what was in front of me. I really did get ahead and do things that set me up for success in the future. Future
Wow.
Shell is really impressed. Future
You know,
Shell is like,
you just said those English words, and I'm pretty good at English, but you said get ahead, and I don't know, I don't really understand.
no, I didn't know what they meant either, Bradley. It just came to me.
Wow. Yeah, get ahead. I'll look that up later.
Well, I sort of joke. I mean, there's been a running joke for years. People have said, "Could you just clone yourself?"
Yeah.
And I've always ha 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 ha. Look, I did. I just cloned myself. I legitimately just cloned myself,
Yeah.
and I gave it to my team. Now my team has Shellbot, so they can ask questions and it
Yeah.
answers as well as I do. Like, there's all kinds of benefits for this agentically now, because before it was just, again, chat back and forth. Now
Yeah.
when Karen wants to write a newsletter for indie author training, she just goes in and says, I want to write a newsletter for indie author training, check the calendar and set it up. It goes
Yeah.
on to the calendar, it sees who's next in our list, it drafts the blurbs, it puts it into Fluent CRM, and it waits for her to approve it and send it out. Right? We could send it out
Wow.
manually, but I want that human in the loop. So we
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
but you could.
Okay. So if you're listening or watching and wondering, like, if you're also like me and wondering, get ahead, I don't know, does not compute. I don't get it. I'm just behind. So and you're listening to Shell here, and you're like, I want a Shell bot. I want to talk to Shell more. How do I learn from Shell? So what do we got going on in a few weeks? What
In a few
is
weeks,
what's going
we
on?
have,
What are you doing?
yeah, so we've got an AI for your author business. It's a 2 day virtual summit, and it's really the questions that I've been asked, the possibilities that I've seen, everything that I think an author needs. I've put together into a 2 day summit. The first day is free, and
Okay.
we're going to talk about Airtable, which is where all the stuff sort of has to live. Doesn't have to, but it's
Tiny
optimized.
interruption. Sorry.
Yeah,
I know you say author here. Could you replace that with creator, like me,
absolutely.
a YouTuber, a creator, content creator? Is that okay?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
anybody that
Okay.
creates content, this is a huge help for, right?
Okay.
Because first,
Okay.
day one, you're going to understand the concepts of things, right? Where to put all of your content, where to put all of your articles, right? Swap out articles for books, swap out
Okay.
videos for books, your releases, your tasks, and your revenue. And I'll show you exactly how I have it set up so that I track all the things in one place. There's been a ton of disparate, you know, services and things that have come into play, which is
Yeah.
fantastic, but
Yeah.
having everything in one place makes a huge difference,
And
especially
for
because
those who don't
you're
know
giving,
Airtable,
yeah, it's a basics. Airtable is just like a bunch of Excel spreadsheets in
okay.
one place, but smarter,
Okay.
but smart,
Okay, great. I know
right?
you're a huge fan, so this is
I'm a
that I like.
huge fan only because you can see, I'll show you my Airtable. I track all of my series here. I track all of my titles here. I track my chapters and scenes and characters. I track all my marketing
Wow.
assets, my campaigns, my socials, right? I track
Wow.
literally everything. Now you might not need this granularity, but I track all of my email contacts so that I have a working backup
Wow.
anytime. Right. So I have
Okay.
literally everything in one place.
Is it
And it
super
helps.
duper steroids spreadsheets, right? You
They're
said?
kind of like super duper spreadsheets, but also things can be done what's called a lookup. So it can, all of these are interconnected. With
Okay. Oh,
spreadsheets,
wow.
it's
All
much
right.
harder to have them all connected,
Okay.
but in Airtable, you can have them all connected. The other thing that's really cool about Airtable is that it's free for most people's
Wow.
use.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
that's kind of why I loved it at first, is that it's easy and free.
so sidebar, and I'm also trying to play devil's advocate a little bit here, Shell. But
Yeah,
sidebar is whoa, 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 overwhelm. What are all those tabs? What is this?
yeah.
Is this summit? Is it also how techy do I need to be for the summit? And
Very
what?
beginner friendly. So
Okay.
you're not gonna actually build this. I'm gonna give this to you. You can just
Oh,
have this version of it. So you can fill
oh
it in
wow.
as much or as little as you want. You'll
Okay.
have the full capabilities, but if you just want to put in, just your social stuff and just have your social media in here, or you just want to use it for, like your character sketches, then you can just use it for as much or as little as you want to use it for. You don't have to use it to its fullest capacity.
Okay.
You can also
Okay.
start small and then grow into it. The cool thing is, one, it's free, and two, here's a template. Use it as you see
Wow.
fit.
Okay. Free. Here's a template so you can use it even better. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
We're on day one.
We're on
Airtable.
day
It's
one. We're on
already
day
like,
one.
wow.
We're on day one, the first session.
Okay. And day one
um,
is free.
Day one is free.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The second session is, one of the things that people often complain about are the AI isms that creep in, so that all of the copy that you
Mhm.
write with the help of AI sounds the same. And we've all seen it, right? It's the rhythm devices that AI uses, like the fragmented questions, not this, but this. Once you hear it or see AI writing, you can never unhear it
Yeah.
or unsee
Yeah.
it, right?
Okay.
But I'm going to show you some techniques that train AI on your voice, so that your copy comes out sounding exactly like you and not like AI. And there are some
Okay.
very specific ways that you can do that, including having brand guides, style guides, social media guides, and copywriting guides. So I'm going to give you a free tool that lets you do that as well.
Okay.
Because nothing takes credibility faster than copy that reads like a chatbot wrote it. So
Okay.
your blurbs sound like you, your social media sounds like you, your newsletters sound like you, everything sounds like you.
Okay. And for the record here, and for the if you don't know Shell or don't know me, we are not talking about using AI to write your books.
No, no. I use AI for business. I
Okay.
think that is the most important distinction. I say let the bots do the boring so you can do the brilliant, meaning you can get
Okay.
back to the thing that only your brain can do, which is create stories and tell stories.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I use AI specifically for business and marketing purposes.
Okay. Awesome. Okay.
The next thing we'll talk about are social graphics and a book trailer. So you can use free tools step by step on the screen, so you can create trailers for your books, short marketing pieces for your books. One of the changes that Facebook ads has made is that they actually look at your creative, and then they decide the audience that creative serves. So you
Right.
want to
Right.
have social graphics and book trailers that look like the audience that you want to attract. So that's a huge step forward
Wow.
in
And you say
AI.
free tools. So on day
Yeah.
one, which is free, and then for am I going to have to pay anything for to get started with these AI tools?
So a lot of these AI tools have free credits that you could take advantage of, so that you can
Okay.
decide if they're right for you. So that's what we're
Okay.
leveraging, are the free credits, free trials. Once you get started, there are paid versions that will do what you need it to do, but they're nominal. So
Okay.
most people will get into the $20 a month Claude plan
Uh-huh.
and the pay as you go plan for the image and video. I use Free Pick for that.
Okay.
And last month, my very, 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 very heavy use of it was $22. And that was
Whoa.
because I was generating 30 videos at a time. So,
What? And wait, 30 videos at a time, and your bill
yeah,
was $22 for the month.
$22 for the month.
$22 for the month.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. All
Yeah.
right.
And part of that too is that you want to be sure that you're doing it in an optimized way, because you can burn through tokens, credits, dollars, euro, whatever you're spending there
Yeah.
pretty quick. But I'm going to
Yeah.
show you
Yeah.
how you can do this without that,
Wow. All right.
so you can step through it and kind of learn from my mistakes.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Hey, do,
And then the
do you have
last,
to go at the top of the hour or are you good to keep going?
I'm good to keep going.
Cool. Awesome. All right.
And then the last day, last session that day, we're going to talk about how to take one post, a blog post that you've written, or a
Okay.
chapter of your book, or an idea that you've got, and we're going to turn it into a week of social content. So that's going to be a different post for every one of the different places you're going to post. So different, Blue Sky is different than Facebook, it's different than
Oh,
Instagram, it's different than LinkedIn, Pinterest, Telegram, Threads, TikTok, X,
wait,
Twitter.
wait, 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 wait. It's not just the same post posted to these different
No,
places?
no, because each of these are
Oh,
different places, right? Instagram is a far more visual medium than
yeah.
Threads. Threads is very descriptive and text heavy. So you don't want to have one thing
Wow.
in each spot. You want to tailor it to each
Wow.
audience there. So
Wow. Okay.
you'll put what your objective is. You can upload parts of your book. You can decide how many days of content you want to create. You can choose which things you want to post to. And then you can choose if it's only videos or a full
Okay.
mix. And then this creates a campaign for your entire however many days of social media content you want to create.
Okay. Sorry, I keep jumping in because I'm like have the devil's advocate hat on,
Yeah.
and I'm trying because I know you, Shell. So, but I'm trying to think. Okay, I don't know Shell, and what is all this stuff? Like, where are we right now? What is this? What is this
Oh,
page we're on?
yeah, so this
Or you?
page is
Yeah.
this page is authorautomations.social. This is a companion to my newsletter at authorautomations.com. And I built this so that you had, instead of using Claude or Claude Cowork or Claude Code and doing it sort of more manually, I've
Yeah.
built this so that you could do it all in one place and see a content calendar of all of your posts in one place. And then if you wanted to create
Wow.
things, you could, create things. But so this is a paid app, but the concepts are exactly the same, and you can do
Okay.
this with Claude Cowork using their $20 a month plan. Just completely,
Okay.
it is a choose your own adventure. You can do it with Claude Cowork,
Okay.
or you can do it with my tool, which kind of gives it to you in a more structured way, so you don't have to fumble through.
Okay. Okay. And we'll learn about this tool, like the pros and cons of this tool versus Claude Code on the first day, I suppose.
Yes, yeah,
Okay. All right.
absolutely. And
Wow.
that tool is, like I said, I built it specifically for people so that they could have everything all in one space and have it all, there. But
Wow.
again, if you want to use Claude Cowork, you can absolutely use Claude Cowork to do this. You don't have to use my tool. You can use
Okay.
Claude Cowork to do it. My
But
tool is
you
just a little,
have created something that does Claude Cowork, but in this way for creators
yeah.
and relevant to all the stuff we've been talking about.
Yeah, for sure. And
Okay.
and
Wow.
partly because when you use Claude Cowork, you have to connect all of these different social media accounts separately and go through all of the headache of creating developer accounts and connecting all of them yourself.
Yeah.
This way, I created it so that you can do it for each of them. And if you have separate pen names, you can connect your separate pen names in here too. So I
Oh,
was
wow.
I was just getting
Okay.
a lot of feedback from folks, and I said, "Hey, I can build this, no problem." So I did. That's
So rather than me going into Claude Cowork and trying to figure it all out, because you've created something that does has the features of Claude Cowork, but you've made it more custom and nice, pretty package with a bow on it for us to use.
pretty much, yeah.
Okay. All right.
But
Wow.
but again, it
Yeah, you can
is
do it all.
you can do it all. You
Right.
can do it
Right.
all.
Right. So I can also
I
go to
just
Home Depot and build a house, but
Great
okay.
analogy. I agree with you.
All right. Wow. Okay.
So
This is, we're still on day one. We just finished day
that's
one.
day
Wow.
one.
Okay.
Yeah,
What
that's
is
day
day
one.
one? Like 77 hours? How long is day one?
It is
Wow.
it's a I think 9 hour day all told.
What? What? Are you
Yeah,
serious?
yeah, it's a long day. There's a lot there,
Oh,
but I've recorded everything, obviously, right? So there's
okay.
recordings and
Okay.
videos, and you can stop and pause it, and you can skip through different sessions as you will.
Okay.
I'll show you the schedule down here.
All right.
So it's, Airtable, AI copywriting, generative imagery. We're also doing a book covers, how to create your own book covers,
Oh,
putting it
okay.
all together with automated social media. It says make.com, but actually it's not now. When I first started this is how fast the technology's going. This isn't going to be done with make.com. It's going to be done with Claude Cowork now because it's just
Whoa.
that much
Wow.
better,
Okay.
right? And then we'll wrap it up and everybody will get a copy of the Airtable template, which is here. It keeps everything in one spot.
So day one, is these are scheduled times,
Yes.
and they're videos that we could then watch and pause and stuff,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
But they open up at that time.
They open up at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Got it. Got it. All right.
I
I'm
know.
keeping up.
It's a
I'm trying to
lot.
keep up.
It's a lot, but I think,
Yeah.
I've recorded them in very specific orders of operations so that you can take them at your own pace. And you're, is that Pepper?
Yeah. He's biting my ankles. He wants to go on a walk. Pepper. It's day two. It's day two. We can't leave now.
Day two is day two is the deep dive into how all of it works. So day one is really
Okay.
conceptual. You'll get a lot out of it. But day two is where we sort of supercharge it and we talk about Claude Code and Cowork
Okay.
and how it actually is going to take control. You'll also have how to connect things, how to use inbox zero, how I get my email down to inbox zero, how to write your
Wow.
newsletter, how do you update your WordPress website, and then how one newsletter becomes a faceless YouTube video, podcast, 26 pieces of social media content, and how it will post everything. So it really walks you through. Day one is the this is what's possible, but day two is how we do it. How this is
Okay.
how you actually do it.
Really showing. Are we sort of looking over your shoulder, and this is how you do it?
Yes, exactly
Ish.
right. Exactly
Okay.
right. How do you connect things? How do you set them up? What should you look for? How you should evaluate some security risks? How do you
Okay.
avoid, some of the pitfalls that are in the news that are being reported with security concerns, right? How do you avoid all of those? I want to walk you through that so that you really, really understand both the possibility but also the cautionary tales.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Okay. I like the operate business operations center. Wow.
Yeah,
Email and task management. Okay.
this is where I've cloned myself, to be honest, because I can wake up in the morning and it will look at my Notion tasks, my to-doist list, and say, what do I need to get done today? And it will say, all right, you're based on what I know about you, you do deep work in the morning and you do admin in the afternoon. So in your deep work, go ahead and work on these, write this, edit this, do your deep work now, and then these tasks will be here in the afternoon, and I can do some of them.
You
Okay,
know, wow.
go do that for me.
So I was talking to a friend of mine today and a fellow speaker, and we were talking about AI, and we were talking about how X years ago, when sort of, internet and whatnot, and the very beginning, early on, people were scared. I'm not going to put my code into that, computer, into that website because I'm scared. I'm going to drive down to the shop and, hand my credit card over manually and get my product. And that's, of course, was the beginning of sort of internet shopping and stuff. And and now, we don't think a second about handing over the credit card. I mean, even people watching this are probably like, what are you talking about? But we don't think for a second about handing over the credit card to some online store, right? Well, except that we should for the scammer sites out there. But but now, because we're talking about here, you said operations center and email and task management, and giving it less or more authority to do things and make decisions better. And whereas now, even me, I mean, Michelle, I'm a techie dude, and I'm all good with this stuff. But
Yeah.
still, even some of it is like, whoa, you're going to
Yeah.
take over what and do what?
Yeah.
Even me, I don't want to say uncomfortable, but I'm not skeptical because I know you also, and I trust you, and I know know how to do this. Not only know how to do it, but you do it. And so I think it's so exciting to have you also guiding us here, and to what's the future, but the future's already here.
Future's already here, but also there's a lot of hype out there. There's a
Okay.
lot of tech bros that want to, sell you on a school,
Right.
SKOOL,
Right.
and
Right.
they are, they have some hidden agenda for it. And to be clear, I mean, day two is a paid day two,
Right.
but it's
Right.
also a step by step how to guide. And I want to be sure that you don't fall victim to somebody that's telling you, oh yeah, just hook everything up and let it go, and you'll wake up the next morning to $4 million in sales,
Right.
and you can, because you could, there exists the ability for you to give an agent your credit card, and it can take
Right.
action on your behalf and sign you up for things and create subscriptions and do all of these things.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet, right?
No.
Even though I see the possibilities, I
Yeah.
still want to give it only what I would give the most new intern in my company.
Right.
And I'm
Right.
not going
That's
to give them a
great.
credit card. And I'm not going to give them the ability to delete anything. I'm not going to give them the ability to wipe out my hard drive and start fresh. I'm not going to
Right.
give them the ability to read my tax reports or
Yeah.
anything that's, uh, confidential or sensitive information.
Or shut down that $200 a month image storage service or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you say that also, because Shell and I are writers, and we know each other from the writer community. And I just see so much junk on Facebook now, where so many scams, so many, hype, like you say, hype. And I think
Yeah.
this is why I wanted to talk with you today. Also, because I know you and I trust you. There's no like and trust, and I know like and trust Shell. And so that's what that's why I wanted to talk today, to see, because you're a trusted persona in this industry. But what's so neat about you is that you have the writer creator side, and then in addition you have this tech AI future side, and you're then bridging that gap. And for a lot of people, this is so scary. I mean, just like handing over that credit card at the beginning of the internet, and now we're kind of handing over, well, as much or as little control as we're comfortable with. And you're going to walk us through how to make all this happen so that you can do that phrase I'm still trying to understand, which is be ahead, be ahead of things, and not just be scrapping and behind on everything,
Yeah.
and getting things done. Because I'm still back to the organizing my photo thing. I'm impressed with that.
Someday. No,
Yeah.
I think it's important that people understand it so they can make business decisions for themselves, right? I'm not here to persuade you. I want you to
Yeah.
understand all of it, and I want you to understand the opportunity but also the pitfalls, so that you can decide, hey,
Yeah.
I'm comfortable doing this but not this. I'm comfortable doing all of this or none of this. Whatever you're comfortable with, I want you to have the best information and the best resources so that you can make those decisions.
Yeah. Okay. Can you scroll back up to the part you had I just love your opening. It's something like the text to, hey,
Hey, overwhelmed
overwhelmed
friend.
friend. There we go. Hello, hey, overwhelmed friend.
It's the royal we. I'm
Yeah.
speaking to me too. Yeah. Again, it's we are publishers who write and not writers that publish. And because we are publishers that write, it is incumbent upon us to brainstorm our titles, write blurbs, draft social posts, edit, set up our books, set up direct sales, be sure it's published on KDP, be sure it's published wide, be sure it's,
Yeah. Yeah.
all the things, and then monitor how things are going and set up ads and create bundles and translations. All of that is can be very overwhelming
Yeah.
if you don't have a plan for it and you don't have some help.
Yeah. Well, the author industry, I think that's one. It's interesting. I think I told you this, Shell, but I'm going to say it in the past tense. I used to coach nonfiction authors,
Hmm.
and I say used to because well, your first word overwhelmed right there. Because my honest like coaching advice was, "Hi, potential nonfiction author. Do you want me to tell you the 1,000 things that you quote unquote should do?"
Yeah.
Or and they're like, or do you want to hear just 100? And they said, I want like 10. I'm like, yeah, 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 maybe we shouldn't do this. maybe you maybe we should think again. Maybe you should
Right.
go back to being a dentist.
Yeah. Or create a Substack newsletter instead of writing a book, right? There's
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
ways, there's creative outlets, but I think people come into this sometimes believing the hype and they don't get
yeah,
straight information, and I think that's doing a disservice to them because it is a hard thing to be a creator. It is a hard thing to be
yeah.
a storyteller and to want to make a good living from it. And there's nothing wrong with that. You
Right,
should make
right.
money for your, you know, commerce. You should have a good living from the things that you produce and create.
And
Absolutely,
then because
100%.
you get
Full stop.
also well, even more from fiction authors than nonfiction authors, but many fiction authors will say, I don't want to do any of this marketing or business stuff. I just want to write. I just want to create.
Yeah.
And I think, and not to oversell, not saying, oh, you never have to touch anything ever again. Uh, but if that's your goal, this is kind of one plan closer step to that goal of because that's again we were talking about what does the success look like. Well, I think success, especially for fiction authors, would be more time to just write.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Let the bots do the boring so you can do the brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it, Shell. All right. So it is now early April, and this is how, let me see. We'll put a link down, AI for your author business 2-day virtual summit, 14
Yep.
days from right now. I
Yep.
will put a link in this video to go to, well, technically to a landing page of mine, and we will. And you just then sign up. You just register. It's free to. You can choose to. What if you first want to go to the free day before you decide whether or not you want the paid day? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, there's a link, and if you want to register for day two, you can absolutely sign up for day two. At the end of day
Okay.
one, there's no,
Okay.
we're not gonna close it off. I want as many people as possible to be in there to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I mentioned the scams and stuff because there's just so much. We in the publishing and writing and author business industry, it's the saddest comments I get are, I was at a conference recently and somebody came up to me and it's like, oh, I just wish I had heard from you first
Yeah.
because I just spent $7,000 on this thing and it wasn't necessarily a scam, but, and I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, that's probably worth like $700 of, actual work, but you paid 7,000. Yeah. Oh, well, ouch. That sucks. She's like, I swallowed it. It's okay. I'm moving on. But like, what do I do now? How do I do it right, so to speak? And
Yeah.
that's what I really appreciate about you, Shell, is that you're just kind of tell it like it is. And like you said, you're not persuading. You're just saying, here it is. Here's what exists. Here's like, one option to do
Yep.
this stuff.
Well, my
And
ecosystem is Indie Author Magazine to inform, Indie Author Training to educate, and Wide for the Win to have a community. Those are the
yeah,
three sort of pillars of what I want out there for people so that they can make better decisions.
yeah, that's good. I like that. I like better decisions.
I
That's a
like better
nice
decisions.
element of the success. What the success look like? Make better
Learn from my
decisions.
mistakes. Learn from my
Yeah,
mistakes, but also the mistakes of others. And also, we just live in an ever changing industry. Our industry
Yeah.
changes all the time. We
Yeah.
are constantly thrown into, the pit of despair with new things coming at us all the time. And I
Yeah.
think, AI is it can be perceived as a threat. It is it's a big change, but how do we leverage it? How can we, as storytellers and as publishers who write, leverage it to improve our business and leapfrog ahead and
Yeah.
stay relevant and have our books be discovered by the people that will love them in the future?
Yeah. Wow. Okay, Shell. This has been fantastic. This is just great. I'm looking forward to it. Just in a few weeks, we'll have a link below to sign up. There's been Chelle Honiker from Indie Author Magazine. It's been great to hear you here today, and this is really a fantastic day. I'm looking forward to hearing it and watching it.
Always fun to hang out with you, Bradley.
Yeah. All right, Chelle.
My
Thanks,
on my
everybody.
back on my back porch would be even better.
In December, we'll head on the back porch again.
Sounds great.
All right. Thanks, Chelle. Thanks for everything. Bye, everybody.